5 o'clock, set my alarm for 5 o'clock. I had a pickup truck, and I'd get up 5 o'clock, have a fag, have a coffee, get 50ml of meth in me straight away in case I got arrested, because I didn't want to withdraw in the system, which is not the case now. I won't need to do that today, because I know if I got arrested I'm getting something. So no fear of being ill, and I've no fear of being arrested, so I've no consequences. But when I was offending and using there, get up, coffee, brew, fag, 50ml, go out to the pickup, go and pick my mate up round the corner, and then pubs, getting beer barrels, and I think it was £700 a tonne for aluminium, £800 a tonne for stainless steel beer barrels. It takes about an hour and a half to roughly get a tonne together, and get a tonne together, do all the pubs round here until we burnt them out, and then we just progress further and further out on the northwest, get a tonne of beer barrels together, drive back here, park up, go for the breakfast, wait for the scrapyard to open at 8 o'clock, drive in, weigh them off, 700-800 quid, 900 quid, because sometimes we get more than a tonne, sometimes we got less than a tonne, but by 8 o'clock in the morning I'd have 600-700 quid. By 8:30 in the morning I'd be in that kitchen window, smoking crack, watching the lads getting up, getting ready to go to treatment, lads that I've offended with, been in jail with, who were new, and then I'd sit there most of the morning. I'd have 700-800 quid spent between 2-3 of us by 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Just one after another, after another, after another. Then we'd go out and pick up again, and washing machines, dryers, any bits of scrap just to see us through that evening. And then same again, up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I used to watch my girlfriend go out, heavily pregnant, going to work, coming back. So before she left for work I was on the pipe smoking crack. When she got home from work I was on the pipe smoking crack. And I think, God, how selfish, self-centred, self-seeking, horrible person I was, you know, to watch my girlfriend. And she'd never seen none of that money. Very rare did she see any of that money. You know, and like I say, £800 every day for about a year before it come on top with the police and the scrapyard and the breweries. £800-900 every day religiously for about a year, and that was me. Pickup trucks, we up to 8 in a year, because when it's come on top we've had to abandon it. And the drug dealers used to buy us another pickup truck. Drug dealer buying in a pickup truck, because you knew how much money you were spending. And yeah, 8 pickup trucks we went through in a year, and that was me typical. When I lived there next door, that was a typical day, really. Lots of, God, I looked like an X-ray with a skin graft. I was that skinny, really, that emancipated, scruffy, because I was always in scrap clothes, and sad, horrible existence, horrible existence. So yeah, that was a typical day living next door. You know, and when all that come to an end, and it was just the police were just on top of us constantly, just making it really difficult. And then, you know, my thieving just went down, me offending, to petty shoplifting, cheese and bacon roll, you know, gammon steaks, legs along. And then it got to the point where, you know, I couldn't even do that, and I was sitting in crack houses, bumming drugs, bumming off the bum, you know, bumming off the bum. And that's when I need to get out, I need to get out of this, and that's when I went to Manchester Drug Services, and they sent me to rehab, because I wanted out. I didn't want abstinence.
I'm an ex-persistent offender from the Stockport area. I was problematic in the Stockport area, committing crimes. I was going out pinching motorcycles, then it was pinching cars, and then he was doing bigger things like going and burgling people's houses, you know, committing armed robberies, doing all that stuff. And so I was taking a lot more drugs. I become a very horrible person towards society. But there was still a part of me that thought I had everything going on. But there was a lot of things that I was doing that I didn't want to do, you know, and I'd go out, my drug taking got to a stage where I'd go out and I'd snatch old ladies' handbags, you know, and I'd have no feelings around this, you know, I didn't care, you know, and what I found is I'd come to a point of where I was getting locked up in prison. You know, and well before that, though, what I will say is I got really addicted to crack cocaine and heroin. I was going into CDTs, asking for help. They was trying to stable me on methadone.
Methadone never kept me clean. Methadone never kept me clean. You know, stop my cravings. What? The only time I used methadone was to, you know, abate a withdrawal. It wasn't to stop using heroin. Just to stave off withdrawing.
You know, when I was going out using on top of my methadone, you know, overdosing, taking several overdoses on methadone, you know, and I got found dead off my nana, you know, and I couldn't stop using. And even when my nana found me dead, you know, she found a lot of tablets on me and a lot of drugs on me, and she took them off me. You know, and I screamed to her at the top of my voice, you know, I want me drugs, you know, and that was after the ambulance men taking 45 minutes to revive me. And I didn't care, you know, and I told the ambulance men to F off and get out of my way, you know, and I went back out and used again.
My old deed in her house, you know, that's bad, that sort of, you know, because I imagine myself now, because I've got my son finding him OD'd in my house, you know, it's terrifying, you know, I didn't even bat an eyelid at the time. You know, I was pretty angry actually that I woke up in hospital, back straight after they just got off my head on drugs. How dare you know, bring me round.
You know, and I had the police on my back a lot. Used to think I'd be able to avoid them, you know, and I was always on the run.
Got deep vein thrombosis through going in my groin.
Hep C, DVT, leg ulcers, abscess scars, false teeth, arrested, imprisoned, divorced, ostracised, laughed at, embarrassed.
Handling, I got nicked for handling, stolen sunbeds of all things. Me sunbeds, you know, like I need one. And I got 12 months. So that was when I done another rattle then. I done another rattle, but I was about, honest to God, I remember going in Strangeways and I must have been about, I don't think I was more than 7 stone. I was a joke, honest to God. Even the 28 ways pants, which were the smallest pants in Strangeways, I had to put string round them. Honest to God, it was a joke. It was honest, it was like a scarecrow. When I come out of prison, I was having bits and bobs to try to sell drugs again, but unsuccessfully. But I always could fall back on the shoplifting, and then shoplifting went right through me using. That was my main source of income as a user. It was less, you know, I wasn't prepared to go and run in banks and stuff like that, because I wasn't prepared to do that type of prison. I only done crimes that I was prepared to do the jail for. And shoplifting was pretty profitable. You know, it kept me in a decent habit. And it wasn't a lot of prison, you know, so I thought it was quite rational, really, that I didn't, you know, I thought I was pretty clever, you know, I was willing to commit crime. 28 days, 3 months, stuff like that, you know, I could do that on my head. That was just part of the occupation, and I sort of settled to accept that. On the front page of the Evening News, for being Manchester's most notorious shoplifter, most prolific.
Eventually one day I was out burgling and they caught me, and ended up in a police station, not wanting to carry on using but not being able to stop, and I was put on remand.
And a few interventions I've had along the way, like I've done the DTTOs, I've done ASRO, addressing substance related offending. I think I've done it twice. I've been on a DTTO 3 times. And I've even moved abroad. You know, I lived in Holland. What a place to go, Holland, to try and change my life. Tried that, ended up getting locked up in Holland for shoplifting. Lost my family. I've got a little boy. You know, didn't have any contact with him. His mum was in addiction as well. You know, so he ended up living with his gran, and then he lived with my mum. You know, all this stuff was happening through my using, and you know, because they call it, you know, because they say it's a selfish disease, nothing mattered.
I ended up into prison, you know, and whilst I was in the police station, they said, you know, I'd come at the end of my using had finished, you know, but I couldn't still stop doing it. And they said, do you want to, you know, get a fresh start, you know, and I said, yeah. And asked me, do I want to take into consideration all my burglaries that I'd done, you know, over the last, because at the end of my using, where I was feeding for crack and heroin, you know, I couldn't get enough, and some days I was spending £200, £300, £400, £500 in a day, you know, I'd go out shoplifting, I'd go out snatching handbags, I'd go out burgling houses, and I ended up doing about 60 odd burglaries in the state of my last year of me using. And they said, well, you need to put this forward to try and show that you will and you will get help. And I was like, well, police had never helped me in the past, you know, couldn't see that I was the problem. You know, it shut me down of my drug taking of all my morals, my feelings, didn't care about my family. I'd steal off my family, you know, I'd rob off my sister, I'd cut my nana's television box that she used to put her money in so that she could pay for a telly, you know, with pound coins in it, you know, and I didn't care. You know, whilst at this police station, I admitted to all these burglaries, you know, and I got a little bit of which I'd never had before, a bit of understanding from my personal officers, you know, and they never used to come and help me, and whilst I was in prison they'd come up and visit me to see whether I'm staying stable, I'm giving negative urine tests, you know, and I was doing that, and they was offering me, well, if you keep doing it, you'll get into a treatment centre which you'll get help with all your behaviour, because I understood that my drugs was just, you know, I found out about that my drugs were just a symptom of everything else. It was my learned behaviours which then I had to change when I got into it.
And still refusing to sort of, you know, look at the problem, you know what I mean? Still blaming the world and the drugs and everything else for the way I was, not actually blaming myself. So, you know, there's a lot of denial in addiction as well, and I was in loads of denial, you know, loads, right up until the end. I mean, if you yourself haven't surrendered, you know, you're flogging a dead horse. It comes to that place where, you know what, I've had enough, where desperation becomes a gift. You know, I was gifted in the end with desperation, and I needed to be gifted with that. Otherwise, I wasn't getting clean until I was desperate. When I was desperate, that's when I went, right, what have I got to do? Right, here's what you need to do, blah, 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 right, I'll do it. And you know what? It's worked, because I've no longer got reservations to use, and that's the bottom line, really. So,
when I was offending and using, my only fear, my only consequence was getting arrested and going to strange ways and rattling. That was my only fear, that was my only consequence. So if I was out there still using and offending and I get arrested, so be it, because I'm going to get some methadone when I get in. I'm not going to be ill. I'm going to get fed, I'm going to get a breakfast, I'm going to get a dinner, I'm going to get a tea, I've got a telly. I'm going to get me scripts at the end of the shift, in my pad behind my door with a book, bit of telly, laughing. You know what I mean? It's just, I treat it as an health farm. No consequences, you know. Go in there and dose me up with methadone right through my sentence to the end. I don't get that. So, Acorn house, 58 Albert Road. Next door, 56 Albert Road. I used to live in that flat. I used to use heavy habit, heavy crack, and heroin habit. And I used to fund it by punching beer barrels. You just go out in the morning, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, pinch a load of empty beer barrels, 30, 40 at a time. I used to bring them down the side here, and used to chop them up with a still saw about here, and all the beer used to swirl round into the drains here, and it went on for weeks. And one of the lads come out, one of the staff, and he was someone that I'd been in jail with, someone that I'd used with, but managed to get clean and get a job here. So he come out one day and he said, "Paddy," he said, "you know, we've got lads here that are trying to get clean doing, you know, alcohol detoxes, and the beer swilling rounds, you know, it's not good for them, so can you take your activities somewhere else?" And you know, he was polite about it, he was nice about it, and so yeah, I stopped coming here with my beer barrels and doing what I was doing. But I used to sit in that kitchen there, smoking crack, and I used to watch my pals in here that I'd used with, been in jail with. Not in a million years I thought I'd get clean. Sat here doing written work that had been assigned to me by counsellors, and then getting up in the morning and go to group and getting treatment, and then ultimately go to college and getting jobs here. And I used to sit there, you know, 6 stone ringing wet, dirty and filthy from chopping up and pinching beer barrels, and you know, in the grip of my addiction, really, just, you know, industrial using. It wasn't just like, you know, you've got users, you've got abusers, and then there's us lot addicts, you know, and I couldn't get my head around it. I couldn't get my head around it. And in from that period when I was in there to getting clean 2 years ago, criminal justice, DTTOs, DRRs, Manchester Drug Services sent me the length and breadth of this country, getting treatment, rehabs and psychoeducative groups and probation groups and one-to-one counselling and group therapy, and you know, I must have spent thousands of pounds. He sent me down to Devon, and he sent me horse riding and canoeing and quad biking, and he sent me to the Scilly Isles on a £2 million yacht for a week, and come back to Manchester, you know, picked up and used. And you know, this is my area, Lemonzoom. I've lived around here all my life, you know, Lemonzoom long site, Lemonzoom long site, Lemonzoom long site. And what's ironic, I got clean here next door to the house, you know, that I lived in, with a pouch of tobacco and a bus pass, you know, mad. And when I come in here, I just come from treatment in Wales, 9 months of treatment, transaction analysis, and I come home, picked up straight away, you know, they ship me out the area, get me clean, and then ship me back, and that was it, job done. You've been in treatment X amount of months, that's it now, boom, back. And you know, ultimately I just picked up and used. I had nowhere to go, I had no plan, I had no sense of direction in life. Just, whoa, hang on, I'm back. And I just did what I always did, just went back to the old haunts, the old playgrounds, my old playmates. And ultimately, within that short period, like I said, I picked up, started using again. And my girlfriend, she got up one morning, just basically told me that was it. You know what I mean? Baby was like 3, 4 years old, and she said, I can't do it no more. You know what I mean? That's it, I've had enough. So I wanted to go. And that was then, for the first time in my life, I realised I had nowhere to go, no sense of direction, no sense of belonging. All I knew was crack houses, alongside police station, strange ways. And then I turned up here with my bags, and I went up, put in that room up there, and just it was just the right atmosphere. Like I said, all lads that when I was using there next door, I was watching do the written work when they were clients. And now members of staff here, managers, counsellors, and it was that attraction, really. You know what? If he can do it, I can do it. And yeah, I stuck with it. And went to college. Started off entry-level maths, entry-level English. You know how thick you've got to be to do entry-level maths, entry-level English. 40 years old. And used to get me bus past, my rucksack, make some bodies, set off on the bus. And yeah, done my entry-level, passed both of them, then my level 1 maths, my level 1 English, passed both of them, then my level 2 maths, my level 2 English, passed both of them. Got a computer course, NVQ2 health and social care, NVQ3 health and social care. Voluntary work, hundreds of hours of voluntary work over a year. And you know, I got a job, they give me a job out of it, and I love it. You know, this is fertile ground, this. You know, there's more than plants and trees and flowers grow here. You know, addicts get clean and recover here. So yeah, it's just ironic that criminal justice and Manchester Drug Services sent me the length and breadth of this country, looking for recovery, trying to get me clean, keep me clean. And I got it on my own doorstep, right next door to the house that I used to use and live in. And just looking over the fence there, thinking, that's where I come from. This is where I'm at. And in a 2-year period, you know, done so much. You know, Acorn treatment and houses, and I'm not just saying this because, you know, we're making a film. You know, just the staff, the clients, the volunteers. You know, I feel part of it. I've got a sense of belonging. I feel appreciated. I feel loved. I feel heard. It's just that's all I've ever wanted, really, in my whole life. A sense of belonging, feel part of, direction in life. You know, and I got it here. It's still hard to get my head round the fact that I got clean right next door to the house that I used in, and the lads that gone before me that made me think, you know, if he can do it, I can do it. All got clean in their own area. You know, they didn't have to go to, you know, Devon or Somerset or Wales or, you know, house on the hill rehab with the waves lapping at the beach. You know, it was here, I've got my recovery here. I'm so grateful for it. You know, I've got a nice home, I've got 2 lovely children, I'm moving forward with my education, got a job, you know, and when I leave here and I, you know, make my way home and I'll see lads that, you know, I grew up with and are still stuck in addiction, and it's hard to look at them knowing that there's a way out from their own doorstep. They just can't seem to get their heads around the fact that they'll get clean on their own doorstep. But yeah, it's possible, it's achievable, you know, and I'm walking proof. First picked up a substance, I was 9 years old. I'm 42 years old now. I got clean when I was 40. So 31 years I've been using substances. Started off with glue, cannabis, alcohol, whiz, trips, LSD, ecstasy, cocaine, heroin, crack. That's what it ended with, heroin and crack. That was, 20 years, heroin and crack, longer. So, to get clean in your own town, your own area, next door, to the house that I used in. So,
ironic really.